Okay, so first of all, I wanted to just show you some of the orgs that have been interested and supportive of this hackathon. So a quick bit of background, Mark Lazar in London and I here in San Francisco decided to do this exactly 30 days ago yesterday. And so we pulled this whole thing together. It was crazy. We worked like banshees trying to, make the whole thing happen. And so basically, New York, which had a long lead, had about 40 folks. We had about 20 in London, and I would say we had a little over 20 here ultimately working on projects. So really an impressive group of people for such a short thing. Duocracy is another project that I just want to highlight that the New York Legal Hackers Meetup has been supportive of and was presented or worked on yesterday, and I think was presented as part of one of the projects in New York. I don't know why it's so far down, but there you go. I just want to show it to you. You can find it in the Hacker League site, links to it.
So, but before I do that, I would like to thank our organizers and sponsors. We, of course, have the Legal Hackers crew from New York, DC, and Seattle, Customer Commons, Open Notice, our platinum sponsors, Mozilla, Clio, and Kelly Dry and Warren, LLP. Our gold sponsors, Application Developers Alliance, Mandrill, and the Center for Creative Collaboration. And finally, our silver sponsors, GitHub and Docracy. Docracy just added last night, actually. My name is Phil Weiss. I'm one of the founders of this group. New York Legal Hackers is one of the organizers of this location. If you're not aware, we actually have 3 locations today for our hackathon here, San Francisco, and in London. And we couldn't be happier with the turnout here and at these other locations. I just did a quick Google Hangout with Mark Lazar and the Open Notice folks over in London. They already have 3 projects forming, and they are getting things going very nicely.
So here's our sponsors. Open Notice Initiative is something I lead. There's a bunch of companies and sort of projects that are involved in Open Notice. And so the project, the consent legal map, is sponsored by the Cantera Initiative, which is the consent and information sharing work group there. The consent legal map after the hackathon will be put into this work group, and the Cantera Initiative will chaperone it towards a candidate for a standard. Common Terms is also a supporting organization. Innis is here on behalf of because of Common Terms.
I got free stickers for everyone.
Free stickers. You got free stickers. The Open Knowledge Foundation is a great supporter of this. I work with them here. They share the office space, and they also given us a lot of support when needed. Mandrill is our sponsor who paid for the food and drinks tomorrow, and the prize. Their MailChimp is much more famous than Mandrill. I think Mandrill is a secure version. And C4CC, that's here. This is, they've donated the space. The Center for Creative Collaboration is funded by the European Union and a bunch of universities. So really thankful that they could provide that for us.
Open Notice is the org that I'm with, and Mark Lazar in London. These are organizations that are helping us, and so I just wanted to point that out. Again, I'm really sorry about the lame slides. Here's a shot of what we're about, and we're at opennotice.org. So Open Notice is a project that has come about in response to the EU, which is asking for, it's been poking around for a while and talking about how we can get individuals a receipt, a consent receipt, for when they go to share personal data, how we can how we might be able to submit our own terms, how we can document what the terms are from the org, and how we might look at jurisdictions. So some of the projects this weekend included a consent map, which tries to map, it's an initial take, and it's going to be a living document because this is a big project, but it tries to take the jurisdiction, location, and the applicable law around personal data use and map that. So right now it's in a simple spreadsheet. Eventually we want to put it in a database. Somebody this weekend in London built an API to call from that database. And with the notion that when somebody appears at a company or at a website, they're downloading an app, maybe they walk into a room with wands that just detect your presence and they start to track you, that there would be some way for you and that entity to share your terms and get that consent receipt at the end. And of course, part of terms is like, what jurisdiction are you governed under? So that's the scope of the Open Notice project. It's very much in process, and we encourage folks to go to the site and look at what we're doing. And if you want to get involved, in the last month we've added about 30 people who are now working on different pieces of this effort. We expect in the EU in about 2 years for this to be required for companies dealing with customers in the EU to have to implement. So we're trying to get ahead of that.